Welcome to another episode of Farm Friday, and today's one is going to be very, very interesting because rather than how we've been doing for the past 11 weeks, where we're getting random questions about Arsenal and just answering them, today is going to be special because this time we are going to take a look at our fixtures, talk about it, see what went well, what didn't go well, and just get into the view of the panelists on this. So my panelists are coming soon. Yeah, I think we're going to arrive a bit late. We're going to have three panelists in today's stream. MC Bernie, close friend of mine, and of course we have TG, Josh the True Gunner, one of my mentors in the streaming game. And of course we also have Rory. So I'm still waiting for them to catch up. But while we're waiting on them, we can just talk about how this journey has been so far. Arsenal is currently on top of the Premier League, and as you would expect, they have been the ones that are currently setting the pace. Last season we expected Liverpool. Hi Bernard, welcome. Yeah, where you are is quite dark. Are you like outdoors?
My man, I'm here. Oh. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you, but you're a bit what's the word to use? Not audible enough.
Okay, so sorry. But you can hear me better now.
Yeah, to a certain degree, I think I'll have to train my voice a bit.
So who is joining us now? Who are we waiting for?
Okay, two of my friends, True Gooner, he's also a YouTube Arsenal creator, and
Nice. And he
another
wants
friend of
and he
mine
wants
as
Arteta
well.
out too, Abi.
I don't know if Josh wants Arteta out. I would doubt that. So maybe while we're waiting for him and Rory to join us, I think we can hit the ground running. So
Yeah.
today we're going to basically talk about our fixtures we've played this season and our take on how Arsenal have been doing in those games. And we're going to start with the first one. I'm getting some feedback from your end.
Okay.
Yeah, it's better now. So the first one we're going to discuss about is Arsenal winning Man United in our opening game. But prior to
Yes.
that game, what was your take on how we were after we completed our preseason?
So our preseason was not so fantastic because Gyökeres did not come earlier, but it was fair enough. We were able to explore the different options that we had and some certain tweaks in our formation. It was in the preseason we found out about our prodigy, the 16-year-old Max Downman, and we got to understand a whole lot of things about our defense also. So the preseason was for me over 10. I would do a 6.5. But after the preseason, we were able to use our first few games as another form of preseason, having signed our number 9, Gyökeres. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So we have Josh in the chat. Hey, bro, it's been a long time, man. So good to have you today. So
Yo, what's going on, guys? How's it going? Thank you for having me. I think it's the first time on the channel, Anthony.
yes, this is the first time on the channel, and I'm so happy to have you today. For those that don't know, Josh is one of my mentors in the game. He has 17,000 subscribers and
Oh, wow.
growing. So how was it being featured in the Content Award early this year? Was that your first time?
You asking me?
Yeah. The Content Awards. Like, I think you got a silver medal,
Content awards. Yeah, content awards. I got bronze. I came third
bronze.
place.
Oh, okay.
So I'm in it again. I'm in the final again for this year in November. And
Awesome,
hopefully we're gonna
awesome.
win it this time, brother. But yeah, no, thanks so much for having me on today, man. Looking forward to it, bro.
Thank you very much. Okay, so today basically we're just going through each of the fixtures we've played so far this season just to get our take on it. And the other panel is Bernard. I just asked him about his take on our preseason, which he has shared. So I'd like to hear yours. In the games you played the preseason, what confidence did it give you that we're ready for the new campaign?
Me, yeah.
Yeah, for you, Josh.
So going into the season, I'm feeling very confident because of the transfer window. Really, the players that we signed. Obviously, we upgraded the squad really well. And we got to sell, and we sold a lot of players, and we got to the actual positions that we needed as well. We got the striker in Gyökeres, and we got the added bonus with Eze, I think, as well, because I feel like previous Arsenal transfer windows we wouldn't have really gone all out for someone like Eze, like we did, towards the end. And then we obviously upgraded the defense as much as we got a good defense last season, and we have done for the past couple of seasons. We went in and signed a young Mosquera in Campier as well, so that's just added to the depth even more. And yeah, we saw some players go as well, which I think they had to go. Whether that was a loan deal or just terminate their contract, I think it's very hard to sell players considering that they're on so much. They was on so much amount of money, and no team's going to really pay that. And it came back to previous sort of people in the past who put them on that ridiculous amount of money. So I think Bert has done a really good job. I think he had a really good window. Coming into the season, bro, I was feeling really confident. Like with the new signings going to come in, and with the squad we already had as well. Like I always thought, even last year we had a good set of players, but now we just added in and we've got the squad depth now. You look at every single position effectively. We got competition for places, man. Even with a few injuries out, you think of like Madueke is still out. He's made a big impact since he's came in. He surprised a lot of people. Jesus is, I know he's back in. He's doing training again. Havertz as well. Like they're sort of injured, but we're still sort of fine with it. Because we got that proper depth there, I think, and
Yeah, yeah.
competition as well. So yeah, I'm feeling really. I was feeling really confident going into the new season, man.
Oh, awesome. So, Rory, welcome to the channel. The first question I'll probably have for you is this: with the way Chelsea have been churning out sales and stuff, what was your take on the way we sell at Arsenal? Is it satisfactory enough for you, or do you think we should do more?
Well, firstly, I do appreciate the invite, Anthony, my bro. Big up to the rest of the panel. But yeah, in terms of Arsenal right now, I mean, I've been quite impressed with what I've seen. Obviously, we've not played the prettiest football. We have been again relying on set pieces, which isn't a problem. But again, we're not really going to get away with it every single week by relying on set pieces. But considering the start we had, I think we can sort of look positively on this start. The fact we are top of the league, 3 points ahead of City, 4 ahead of Liverpool, I believe. So I think basically to answer your question about what Arsenal should do, just keep up the consistency in it. Stay at the top of the league by May. And then I'll, of course, judge the manager. If he then gets over the line, then I'll hold my hands up and I will give him credit. And whatever he does, whether he wins the Premier League or the Champions League, he will go down in Arsenal history, won't he? That's all I've asked for from this manager. It's not me being negative or patronising towards the manager. It's the fact that I want him to succeed. But in the last 5 years, it's fair to say he has proved me right. But so far, like, I've been impressed. The fact he's actually learned from his earlier mistakes. We're not going into games so pragmatic, and we've sort of released the handbrake off a little bit, I would say, in the past few weeks since, I would say, the Man City game. I think that's when he's sort of resisted playing Mourinho in midfield alongside Subamendi and Declan Rice. I think the summer window was a success considering Berta was launched into the deep end. I mean, it was pretty much a sink or swim situation. It was a huge summer for Arsenal, and I think he's done really well to not just get signings in, but tie down a lot of our players, the likes of Gabriel, Saliba, them two in particular, down to obviously long-term contracts. And I am seeing, vast improvements from players as well. The likes of Calafiori, who I wasn't convinced with last season. He's actually come out and he's looked like a top player, to be honest with you. Although I still don't understand his role in the team. I mean, I don't know whether the guy's a left back,
Center, a
right.
midfielder.
Yeah, he's just everywhere, man. He's everywhere, crazy. So let's go through.
Yeah, I mean, bro, he ran past me in college the other day. So again, it's just unreal the amount of times he is. Whether that's left wing, striker, like he's the only one in this team that has a free role.
True.
I think Zubimendi's actually improved the way we sort of move in the final third. Because on the ball, yeah, he may be a bit lightweight, but I think his passing in the final third has been so important. I actually question whether that guy's a 6, to be honest with you, because of his ability on the ball. Obviously, Declan Rice his set pieces have been excellent all season. Saka's obviously had a few setbacks here and there, but he's starting to find his feet. But, you know, for me, this season stems from the defence. And I think if we do stand a chance of winning anything, I think if we keep that defence fit, that would be the difference between us winning something this season. And if we don't keep the defence fit, then, it'll be the difference on why we don't win anything. So, yeah, I'm looking obviously Saliba and Gabriel in particular, despite having centre-back cover. But, yeah, I'm looking at the defence in particular that, for me, if we do not get over the line, then it's obviously down to one of them two centre-backs getting injured for me, or even Timber, or even the goalkeeper, because, again, Rye's been excellent. Timber, for me, has been player of the season, and then Saliba and Gabriel, like, there's no introduction, really.
Yeah, awesome. So, Bernard, let's talk about the first game we played, which was against Man United. Till date, that has been the only team that kind of had more shots than us. They had 22 shots while we had 9. And watching that game, did it look like something that we were going to win for you?
Okay, I think Rory has said it all. I think those are one of the games where we're still playing with the handbrake, trying to do the counter, trying to sit back and absorb and try to catch them on the break. Because it's the early season, I would say that the guys haven't really blended at that time. They were finding it difficult to string passes together. They were finding it difficult at the final third. And but of course, set piece came to the rescue once again. But I think they've grown and matured from that game. But honestly speaking, that very game was, I think it was a lucky one for us. We just we snatched away with the 3 points. Of course, that's what champions do in the most difficult games to try to win. So, but on that very day, I wasn't so convinced. Even though we went away with the 3 point, I felt like, oh, these are the kind of games where we begin to drop points. Then we began to play teams like Fulham. We played Brentford. We played Nottingham Forest. So from those games, the team began to grow and began to mature into their positions and their positional play. I like the fact that Rory mentioned about Calafiori. Remember in our previous podcast, I told you that Calafiori is beginning to look like a new signing for me, and I'm enjoying every bit of play from him this season. And the only way we can continue to enjoy that is to pray and hope that he doesn't get injured. Yes, we do not want any form of long-term injury for him. The best at most, probably a knock, miss 1 or 2 games, and that's it. But probably a rest or something. But anything that makes Calafiori go for a 6 weeks injury, nothing, not taking anything away from Martin Kelly, but regardless of what he did in the Champions League on Wednesday, but I prefer Calafiori, the way he moves around, the way he goes everywhere. The way he goes everywhere, the way he tries to influence play in the attacking forward. I think the guy is a signing of the season already this season.
Okay, awesome, thanks. So, Josh, let me go with you on this one. Because Gyökeres came into the club, 97 goals in 102 games. There was so much pressure on him, bearing in mind that he had not had a striker like him since Aubameyang. Then he comes into the game against Manchester United and had just 22 touches before he was subbed out for Kai Havertz. What was your take on his debut?
Listen, there's so much that the guy can do. When again, thing what you guys said earlier with getting used to the system of how Arteta wants to play. He's not going to get it in his first game, and surely seeing in the recent couple of games. You know, I think back to Newcastle. He played very well. Okay, he didn't score, but he linked up the play really well. He tried to make things happen against Atleti. Before he scored, he's moving out wide quite a bit. Fulham as well. Like these games, he's getting more and more involved. He's getting used to his system, how he wants to play. Because I think it's very different to how he plays at Sporting, and of course, it's a completely different league. You know, it's going to be less space in Premier League. It's a lot more physical. You know, you're up against, for example, like Newcastle. You know, up against like these big defenders, these big physical players. You're going to be, you know, when we go to like Burnley and Turf, more like this is Premier League. You know, it's going to be different. But you know, he got the brace against Atleti. That's going to give him the world of good in terms of confidence. But for that first game against Man United, you know, obviously there's going to be a lot of hype, a lot of people watching him because of number one, it's Arsenal, and for some reason everyone just wants to hate on Arsenal, and we get spoke about every single day. It seems like, no matter. And number two is because obviously he's got a lot of goals last season, you know, for Sporting.
Yeah.
He put up some ridiculous numbers, you know. So people are like, "Oh, can he cut in the Premier League?" But I think he's going to come good, man. I think he's going to come really good. You know, I'm very excited about the signing because it's sort of, as you said, it's one of the first real out and out sort of strikers that we've had since Aubameyang left, really. And we saw what he sort of did for Arsenal. And we saw how much we sort of missed him over the recent years.
True.
I think he's another added bonus to really get us over our line this season in terms of league and you know, even Champions League. But yeah, he's debuted. People, you know, were hating and all that, and you know, I looked at it like this. I thought, listen, and even we're still in October, yeah, we've still got plenty of games to go. And as I said, he's getting better every single game. It seems like he's getting more used to the players around him. I think having Eze in there is definitely boosted that as well. I feel like even like when we had Madueke in there as well. I thought, you know, he's been playing that sort of front three we had of Madueke, Saka and you know, Gyökeres looked. Sorry, not Saka, Madueke. I think Eze. I think the Forest game, wasn't it? I think.
Madueke, Eze, and Gyökeres.
Yeah, I thought they all played really well together, and I think it was Eze who played that cross put that cross in for Gyökeres.
Gyökeres, yes.
Yeah, when we scored that, you know, that goal against Forest. So I think he's going to come good, man. I think he's going to come good. But just quickly on the Man United game and that result, yeah, I came out of there thinking the performance weren't great, but Old Trafford is a place where Arsenal go, and if you looked in the recent, we number one it's a place where we struggle because when we actually won there, I think we've only won 1-0 in the Premier League. In you think about the Aubameyang season when he scored that penalty, that was 1-0.
The Trossard was 1-0 as well,
and the Trossard one, wasn't it? And ever since then, it's been 1-0, 1-0. So we don't score many goals against obviously Man United at Old Trafford. So I'm coming out there thinking it's a tough place to go to, right? As much as people can hate on Man United and all that, it's the first game of the season. It's never going to be an easy task. And we came out there and we got a clean sheet, and we, as much as I thought at times we definitely rode our luck because they certainly had some big chances, but
yeah, they did, actually.
You know, like we came out there with 1-0 win, and yeah, simple as that, really.
Awesome. Okay, so let's go to the next game, Leeds. Rory, this was a game where we whitewashed, you know, the newly promoted side, and Gyökeres finally scored a brace. But I think to me, the standout player was Timber. What did you love about Timber's performance on that day?
I think not only the 2 goals, obviously, because he bagged a brace, but his just overall defending, really, and the fact he makes the right back position just looks so easy. And the thing I love about Timber is it's actually incredible how much football this guy has played, and the fact the guy has not had no setbacks whatsoever since that ACL injury. I look at Ben White since he's come back from his injury, and the golfing class between both of them. Ben White had surgery; he had to play much more minutes than he had
while in pain.
Initially, and that was all because, of course, Timber was injured. Timber's come back, and obviously Ben White's had to suffer a setback, and he's had to play every game, but he's still maintained that same consistency where he left off from last season. Like he, I believe, didn't he pick up an injury towards the end of the season?
Yeah, he did actually. He went for a surgery on his ankle.
Yeah, and he didn't play much of pre-season. I don't think he started a game, if I'm not mistaken. And obviously, he didn't start away at Old Trafford. So I think Leeds was his first Premier League start this season. So, yeah, I think I've got so much praise for him, to be honest with you. The fact he's managed to play through that. And as I said, I'm looking at Ben White, and he's not really looked the same player since his surgery. And he's been missing tons of training sessions due to these, minor injuries. So, again, as I said, I've got so much praise for Timber, and I think that game, he was man of the match. In terms of, like, the game overall, I think first half, despite going 2-0 up, it was still a bit lackluster, if you ask me. I thought second half, obviously because we were 2-0 up, that's when the floodgates started to open, and obviously Gyökeres got his brace.
Yeah.
Timber bagged another one in the second half, and then obviously Dalman came on for his first.
Oh yeah, and won a penalty as well. And that was awesome.
Won a penalty. So hopefully we'll see more of Dalman this season. After obviously with his, I think didn't he sign a scholarship with Arsenal or something like that?
A schoolboy deal, yeah.
Yeah, so that's not happening until obviously next year, but still, like, huge to get him tied down in it. So, yeah, I was pleased with the result considering, like, against these sort of teams last season. I'm not sure whether we get a result because, like, we didn't really batter many teams for all I remember. Like, we'll go 1-0 up and then we'll miss chances, and then we'll throw the lead away. Like, that was the problem with us last season, why we didn't win the league.
Yeah, we had like 14 games from our draws, but we were leading in 9 of them. It was quite disappointing.
Yeah, exactly. So it was nice to actually witness a battering for once from Arsenal's point of view, obviously, and a clean sheet. And that was the first home game of the season as well. So, yeah.
Awesome. Ben, are you free to talk now, or are you still busy? Okay, seems busy though. Okay, so maybe Josh, you will take this one. While that game was going on, when Arsenal played against Leeds, Bukayo Saka was with the ball and he made a simple pass and he clutched his hamstrings. And the fears were there again. What ran through your mind, bearing in mind that he had been out for almost 4 months in the previous campaign?
Yeah, it's always a worry with Saka. I think that's been the big thing since he's been at Arsenal in these certain seasons where maybe he gets run down to the ground a little bit. Some of the games we played last season, I remember Arteta played him in the Carabao Cup games where there's just no need to really. And, that's why it's been that sort of worry we have, and that concern there with Saka. But what I will say now is we have the depth in terms of, I don't know, he's injured as well, but Madueke, obviously, him coming in, I thought he played very well, actually, on the right-hand side. Like Liverpool game at Anfield, I thought he was our best player. I thought he's the only one trying to make stuff happen. And the few occasions where he has actually played on the right, he's actually looked really, really good. So he's going to be there. And even if he's not out there, even if he's injured as well, for example, you've still got Ethan, man. Like, I still see Ethan as a attacking midfielder, but even he proved last season that he can do a job on the wing, man. You think about the Brighton game. I think he played there against Girona in the Champions League, scored a banning goal. When he came off the bench against Man City in the 5-1 win, he scored there as well. Like he can do a job on the right hand side as well. So yeah, I think now the difference is we've got proper competition in terms of and depth there. Like I definitely think Madueke can, even if Saka's tired, 70 minutes and. You don't have to play him for full 90 minutes like we used to, because you've got Madueke to come off the bench and against tired legs can run these teams down, sort of thing. So I think that's going to be less of a worry now for a player like Saka. And I think he's getting back to his best as well in the recent games. I've definitely seen big improvement in some of his performances in the recent games, and I think if he can stay consistent. And obviously not have that sort of concern that, he's going to get overplayed. I think we're going to see the best of him,
Yeah. I think one challenge we had that we're not really managing his minutes in the past, and I think we are getting a whole lot better with that. But still sticking with injuries, Bernard, let's talk Ødegaard. For three home games in a row, Leeds, Nottingham Forest, and I think West Ham, he continued to suffer some impact injuries that kept him out of the side for quite a while. We know that at the time of this recording that we are having, he's currently out injured with his knee. But in the game against Leeds, he injured his shoulder. And what's your take on his performances so far? Do you think that he's going to come back stronger, or do you think we now have enough depth that we're not going to miss him that much?
Okay, so one of the strength of Odegaard is his resilience. Is he has a strong character. Yes, at some point in the season, last season, earlier this season, he was off form, but it didn't stop him from being Odegaard. The pressing, the ginger, the motivation, and all. So I think one of the problems he had this season was after he noticed that he had a dip in form, he was now trying too much to get back to that form like he wanted. He had a whole lot to prove. He got to the internationals. He did very well. Coming back, oh yes, I'm top of confidence is high. Let me replicate what I did in the internationals for my country, for my club. So, but the thing is, one thing about Odegaard is once he hits that top form, massive respect to AZ, but AZ cannot replace Odegaard in that team. I think we saw that in our Champions League game. We saw that in a few games already where Eze assumed that position. Eze would only be Eze, but Eze cannot be Odegaard. The pressing from Odegaard, right from the very first minute to the 90th minute, the motivation, the ginger to carry everybody along, and of course those Odegaard defense splitting passes we used to know him for will come back. But for now, let's only continue to manage what we currently have. The good thing about the squad this season is you don't need to replace anybody. You just know how to manage the team. I liked what you guys also talked about Saka. I was very critical of Saka last season. Saka at some points became, I don't know, I don't want to call it stunted performance, but it wasn't giving the Saka vibe. Yes, everybody said he's playing every game, we are using him too much, he's burning out and stuff like that. So hopefully now that we have Noni Madueke, we have Trust and Nelly that could play from either wing, we have Izzy, we have Ethan Waneri, we have Dauman, we have a lot of options right now. We hope that we can see the best of Saka. But the honest truth I would want to also say on this time is Arteta should try to balance the play. We are no longer going to be depending on the lopsided play from the ball getting from Raya to Saliba to Timber to Odegaard and to Saka. Let's see how we can play from both wings. We can see that the left hand side of our team is beginning to gain traction also. We are beginning to do exploits from that wing, considering what we did at the Champions League and recent games where Martinelli and Trossard has given us clutch performances and have come up to the plate. So if Ateta can hear me, or if any of you or if any of us is very close to him and can send the words to him, he should balance the team play. Saka is no longer what we used to call him in Nigeria here, the star boy of the team, carries the team on his shoulder, yeah, carrying the team on his back. No, everybody can play right now. Everybody can play, and we need to use everybody to the best of their ability. But
Awesome.
of course, Saka is Saka always, yeah. But he needs to do
Yeah.
better. He needs to improve his play too. He has been one-sided for a while. Saka is beginning to be one-dimensional. If he takes it to the byline, if he doesn't cross, he tries to cut back and shoot. Let's see some flair. Let's see something else from Saka, the way we see from Madueke. But it's fine. We are good.
Awesome. So, Rory, let's talk Liverpool. This is the only game we've lost so far. And, honestly, it was quite disappointing. But I think my first
Yeah.
issue was the lineup. What was your thought on that Rice, Merino, and Zubimendi midfield?
Oh my days! I remember this game as well because you know what? I crashed out after this one. It's fair to say. Yeah, the lineup. I mean, straight away, I said the guy's playing for a draw here. I'm like, what is this guy doing? I mean, when you've got Eze on the bench at the time, I think Dalman was on the bench. Fair enough, he's 15, so you don't want to risk him. And then I believe you had Ethan. So you had three creative players on the bench. You even had Skelly in there, who I would have preferred over Marino. Yes, I know Skelly's not, you know, he's not really that maverick type, but again, he will provide you with a bit of energy in there. Marino, Rice, and Zubimendi's never really worked. And as I said earlier, I'm glad Arteta has sort of learnt his lesson with that one. Well, I would have hoped so anyway. That, you know, we've won, I think it's 1 game in 10 whenever Marino and Declan Rice have started. That's pretty much, remember 2 seasons ago when we played Havertz in midfield? That's pretty much it for Arsenal. If we play Marino in midfield alongside Declan Rice and Zubimendi, then we're not going to win because it's too safe. Yeah. And yes, Marino scored a hat-trick for Spain. Whoopie-doo, it's for Spain. Like, come on. You look at the way they're playing at the moment, and you look at the Premier League, which is a different breed in comparison to an international friendly. So it's fair to say Arteta got brainwashed by that hat-trick he scored at the time. And even if you didn't want to start Eze, like you had Ethan on the bench to start. And I don't want to hear this crap about the fact, you know, he's 18 years of age, he's not ready for this occasion. Skelly played at the Bernabeu last season.
Yeah.
So, again, yeah, and he's the same age. So, like, for me, there was no excuses to drop the likes of, well, Eze, that was his debut, but there was no excuse to play that midfield when you had creativity on the bench. And the way Liverpool are playing right now, that was the opportunity.
Yes.
And it wasn't necessarily the result that annoyed me, because I can accept Arsenal losing football matches. It's the way we lost the game, you know, because as I said, Liverpool were there for the taking. And I felt like if we went for it, gave them a game, but we still lost, I would have gone, I tell you what, we lost through a worldie, which Raya couldn't have done anything about. I would have took positives from that game. But because we lost by a worldie, and, you know, it feels like people are trying to mask over that game and acting like, oh, well, Arsenal were the better we weren't the better team. Liverpool were crap as well. It's just the fact that Liverpool were crap. That's sort of making people think, well, you know, we were the better team. No, we lost because of our own doing. I mean, it was going to be a 0-0 draw anyway. Let's be honest. It was on course to be a 0-0. But Liverpool,
Rory, you're forgetting Szoboszlai played 2 on that very day. They had the weakest defense ever. They had the weakest midfield ever. And we didn't win.
Exactly. Like, how many clean sheets have they kept since that game? I think their only clean sheet was against Burnley.
Yeah.
If you included that game, their only clean sheet was against Burnley, away from home. I mean, come on. Like, we're including like all competitions here. They have not really kept a clean sheet this season because they've been leaking goals. Konate's been terrible. Van Dijk looks finished. Yeah. Salah looks finished. He didn't even do anything in that game, by the way. Calafiori had him on lock. They had Szoboszlai playing right back. Like, that was the opportunity to have a go at them, but we didn't, and that's what disappointed me.
Yeah,
and then,
I agree with you.
Yeah, and then we have players wasting time as well. I'm like, well, we're losing, for God's sake. Like, what are you playing at? And obviously I had comments about, oh, well, you're negative, you're panicking over 3 games. At the time, it was 5 years of, well, not 5 years, but
6 years, actually.
Yeah, well, 6 years, but I've been watching the same thing over the last 8 months. Like, why are people telling me to calm down when it's not just, 3 games? It's been 8 months of watching the same crap, and we've followed that on for, the following season, where we've had all of these players coming in, the likes of Eze, Madueke, Gyökeres. speaking of Madueke, he was probably our best player that day alongside.
You were the only one that tried to make something happen that day.
Yeah, but even I don't think Madueke even had a great game, to be honest. He was just, I'd say, better than all of the forward players out of the two teams. Like Salah didn't do anything, Wirtz didn't do anything. Who else did they have? Gakpo didn't do anything. Did he? I think he did play, didn't he?
Yeah, it was Gakpo and Ekitike.
Ekitike didn't do anything either.
Yeah, I agree.
On call,
it's really crazy. It's really crazy. And Josh, let's talk about this. When you look at the fact now that Liverpool had lost, obviously they won Frankfurt this in the Champions League, but they had lost to Crystal Palace, Galatasaray, Chelsea, and Man United. And prior to the game against Arsenal, they had considered 2 goals to Bournemouth and considered 2 goals to Newcastle. Did you feel that game was something that we should have done a whole lot better? And why do you feel we did not attack as much as we should have?
Yeah, 100%. They were there for the taking, this Liverpool team, and it's one of those. I think it's number of factors, man. I still think Anfield plays a big effect, and having that record haunting us that we haven't won there since 2012. Like I still think that's a big thing these players are going to look at. And I was watching back the All or Nothing the other day. I don't know if you've ever watched it.
The Amazon series.
Amazon one, they were obviously they showed when we played Liverpool at Anfield. Also, because we played them in the season, like we played them twice, didn't we? We played them in the semi-final and the 0-0 game, and the obviously in the Premier League, and we lost the game 4-0, and that's when Arteta put the bloody speakers in bloody training to make the players get used to the atmosphere. But I still think that plays on Arteta's mind a little bit. Is the fact that he even as an Arsenal manager, like I think we've done better. Like you think about was it when we was in the first year in the title race when we were 2-0 up, and then we had them on.
Let's go from Firmino.
Yeah, but we had a great start. I think Jesus and Martinelli got the goals.
Very early goals. We now messed up towards the end. I remember. I think we almost lost that game because Ramsey had to make a very good save from Salah.
We are right towards the end, man. Ramsey was on smoke that game, but
I think the game obviously changed when that incident happened with Xhaka and Trent. If I remember
That we kind of lost our head in that moment.
We were battering them, and then
that was just sad, man. So there
I mean, I was no, so sorry, Anthony, go on.
No, go finish your thoughts, bro.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, like I think that's one of the factors was just Anfield as well, but you are right, they were there for the taking, man. Liverpool, I mean, you've all mentioned it. It's the way we set up, wasn't it? At the end of the day, playing that 3 in the midfield of, Marino, Zubi, and Rice. Just two sort of, I don't know what the word is, but yeah, there wasn't enough really. Like in that first half, it was only Noni Madueke trying to make stuff happen. I thought we had a good battle up against Gyökeres as well. Anyone trying to make stuff happen, man. Then obviously we could see that Sobosai free kick. I mean, it was an incredible free kick, wasn't it? But yeah, I think you guys are right. Honestly, it was going to be probably a 0-0 draw anyway. Which even if we drew 0-0, it would have felt disappointing as well. To be honest.
Yeah, true. I think the fair result was still disappointing. So then let's talk about the one positive thing that we had in that game. 5 minutes into the game, William Saliba rolled his ankle. He had actually suffered an injury in the warm-up to the game and went into the game and hit the deck. And a certain Christian Mosquera came on to make his debut. What was your take on Mosquera's performance that afternoon?
So
I
think Mosquera is one of our best signing from
Oh, we lost. I think he had like a network glitch. Okay, Rory, do you want to talk about Mosquera a bit?
Yeah, I actually forgotten about
signing.
Mosquera.
I think we signed him.
Okay, are you back? No, we kind of lost it for a bit.
Was it from Valencia we signed him, or we sold him to Valencia? So Mosquera came in and changed how our squad depth is when it comes to our defense. And he came in like he had been playing for Arsenal while in.
Okay, we've lost him again. Sorry about that. Okay, Rory, go ahead, man.
Yeah, so I actually forgotten about Mosquera. I take it back. I thought Mosquera was actually our best player that day. The fact that he's come in and he's pretty much taken not the Premier League by storm, but he's like the games I've seen of him, like not just in the league but in pre-season as well. I thought he's looked really good, to be honest with you. So fair play.
Awesome.
Fair play.
So let's go to the next game. This was the 3-0 win against Nottingham Forest when we came back from the international break. Then is your network better now?
Yes, I can hear the team now. Sorry, I had
Oh,
the echo. Yeah.
no, that's fine. So let's talk about Zubimendi. What are your take on him on this afternoon?
Okay. So let's say that day was Zubi's birthday. Let's say that day was World Zubi's Day. Anything Zubi had done on that day would have become, awesome. If he had kicked a stone on the pitch that day, he would have gone into the net. So Zubi just had a field day. He was enjoying himself. Not because I'm sorry, I'm going to hurt some people here. Not because he's so much of an upgrade to Partey. I still say Partey. If you put Partey in this current Arsenal team, he's going to do more than what Zubi is doing. It's just that. I think Nottingham was crap on the day. They were so shit of themselves that they didn't even. I think there was no threat. There was no level of disturbance from the normal Nottingham Forest that would normally have. So everybody was. It was like a training ball for Arsenal that day, and Zubi came up on top, and he was scoring worldies and doing his tiki taka and stuff like that. But I will continue to sound it. It is too early to say Zubi is an upgrade to Partey. Yes, we were so
Okay.
unlucky. We were so unlucky to have met Partey at the twilight of his career. I think he was on the downward curve age-wise when we signed. I think he's over 30 already. Yeah, so Zubi is coming in now and giving us the new wife syndrome, the new toy syndrome. When you get a new toy, the old one becomes obsolete and stuff like that. But regardless, Zubi is playing the ball. He's adapting well to his role. But if you notice some key games, Zubi disappears. I don't know how to sound that, but there are times where you expect Zubi to step up. You don't find Zubi. I think the game against I think I saw the game against Liverpool. I saw the game against Man U. I saw there are some games where you expect Zubi to, step up and stuff like that. You don't see him, but when it comes to the lower teams, he gets them on the ride. He intercepts, he tackles, he passes, and stuff like that. But good game. I pray he continue to grow because the more he grows for us, the more our chances of winning a silverware this season, and the more I would begin to want to make Arteta stay. If not, even if Arteta wins the FA Cup or the Carling Cup this season, Arteta out.
Okay, so I would love to get the other panelists talk about this Zubimendi versus Partey. And I think I'll start with you, Rory. Was Zubimendi an upgrade on Partey? If the answer is yes, give me your reasons.
Oh, you know what? I think, firstly, when Zubimendi came in, obviously I thought it was a good signing. I was happy with the deal, but I did question whether he was an upgrade on Thomas Partey. I don't think he was, if I'm being honest. I think he was a little less robust than Thomas Partey, for instance. And obviously, at the time, I was disappointed that we let go of Thomas Partey because I believe the initial plan was to have Zubimendi and Partey,
Yeah.
and we're going to let go of Jorginho. But obviously, because of the cases, which I'm not going to delve into, he had to go. So we then bought in Norgard. And when that happened, I was a bit unsure whether Zubimendi will be able to hack the Premier League because of his,
Size?
he's not the most physical. He's not the most physical CDM I've seen, to be honest with you. He's not someone that I would be comfortable with sitting in front of that back four like a Declan Rice would. But so far this season, as I mentioned earlier, I think he does look like he's more of like a box-to-box midfielder than he's a six. But at the same time, like I've seen him winning aerial duels against players like Dan Burn and Volkart. But I'm like,
Really?
this guy can
Against
actually
that
do
ball?
an aerial
Are you
duel.
serious?
Against Newcastle, he actually did.
Put the ball back as well. Like,
Yeah.
at the moment, he's been balling out. It's fair to say, and on the ball, like he's so good. He has a great eye for a pass. Like when he came on against West Ham, against these low blocks as well, in a game where it's 0-0, nothing's really occurring, and then he plucks out a pass out of nowhere. I think it was Tuesday against Atletico Madrid. That pass he played to Gyökeres in the second half.
That was mad.
Yeah, like he was moving like Zidane at that point. I'm like, what is going on?
True.
And at that point, I'm like, well, is he a 10? Is he a 6? Is he an 8? I don't know, because that ain't normal for your 6 to be moving like that.
True.
And like I've been really happy with the signing so far, and I've been really happy with him, because at first I thought, is he really an upgrade on Thomas Partey? In the big games against Man United, he was okay. Liverpool, I didn't think he was great.
Rory,
City at home.
Rory, do you think he's currently an upgrade to Partey, honestly speaking?
Right now, it's difficult because I was a fan of Thomas Partey. I know Josh was as well.
Okay, so Josh, have a go. Let's see.
We're talking like Thomas Partey, the footballer, right? Not obviously.
Of course. Come on, it's the footballer we're talking about.
It's difficult.
Yes, the footballer. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so Josh, can give this a go. Let's hear from you.
Yeah, I mean, again, as Rory said, Thomas Partey is a footballer. Yeah, he was one of my favorite players, to be honest with you. I think he's one of our most important players last season as well, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we missed him a lot when obviously, and you know what, it was I mean, you saw Declan Rice's reaction when he got suspended, in that big Champions League game. Declan Rice was fuming with him.
Sure.
Because he knows how important he is as well in the midfield. And we certainly missed him. And listen, at the end of the day, like, I've rated Partey for many years. I know the thing with let him down, I think, was the injuries at times with him.
Mm-hmm.
But last season, he had a very fit season, didn't he? I think he played almost every single game. I don't think he got injured last season at all, really. If I can remember.
He was fully fit for the entire season. It was quite shocking, actually.
Yeah, so yeah, I was a big fan of Partey, to be fair. I still think Zubi's got a lot to prove, but I think Zubi's really good. He's been playing really well. Always a fan, and yeah, as you guys have said, and like that was hopefully going to be the plan is having both of them really, not so one or the other, and maybe we should try that. Maybe we should try Zubimendi more as a box to box and more advanced, and then having Rice back into sort of his natural number 6 really. Where he played at West Ham, and where a lot of people were saying, we should play him where he usually does play, and you'll see a much more better Rice. I think Rice can have good games in the 8 sometimes, but is he going to be consistent there? Like, is that really, when looking at going, for these couple of seasons now,
Mm-hmm.
is he going to be the future 8 for Arsenal? Like, I would love to see Zubimendi, maybe them sort of swap around a little bit. Or I don't know if we try this, but I wouldn't mind seeing a double pivot, both having Zubimendi and Partey together. But again, it just seems like when I'm watching these games, it still seems like Rice is playing that more advanced role. But I mean, Zubi's proved that. I mean, he scored a brace, didn't he, against Forest? He scored that stunning goal, unbelievable goal. And yeah, he's proved that he can turn up in. I mean, that Atleti game, I thought he was absolutely class.
Sure.
And yeah, I think Rory said it that pass he did to Gyökeres, in Zidane-esque, so he's very, very, very good on the ball. I think the big doubt around Zubimendi was all about the physicality side of things, but I think he's going to become good, man. I really do. But I think it's still early to say if he's as better as Partey, because I think Partey was that good.
Awesome.
I think I'll say about Declan Rice, by the way. I think recently we've actually seen him more in the 6 than in the 8. I think him and Zubimendi have sort of rotated a bit. Like one's going in the A, and it's constantly exchanging, which is exactly what I want to see, by the way. I don't want to see Zubimendi just dropping back and then Rice in the A. I think lately, yes, he scored against West Ham, but we didn't really see Declan Rice in the opposition box many times, to be honest with you. So I think compared to last season, we have been seeing Declan Rice sitting in front of that back four than, him just wandering, because I'm not a fan of him in the air. I think he's average in the air. I'm not saying he's terrible, but in the 6 is where my preference is, because, again, he was the best 6 in the league when he was playing there, and he got team of the season because of it. So, yeah, for me, he's got to be playing alongside Zubimendi in a double pivot, and we've been playing a 4-2-3-1 lately, which is exactly my go-to, because the 4-3-3, like, if you want to play 3 holding midfielders in a 4-3-3, then no, that's just not the way.
It's to stifle the team entirely. I agree with you, bro.
You need a Bruno Guimaraes in that equation, or Ødegaard isn't really the best in a 4-3-3, if you ask me, because he's always hugging the right-hand side. If he's in a 4-2-3-1,
he has a bias towards that right.
Yeah, it allows him to utilise that left hand.
It's Arteta's instruction. It's Arteta's instruction. Blame Arteta for that hugging of the right-hand side. It's Arteta.
Yeah.
Wait, is MC? Are you on Arteta out?
Yeah, he's 100% Arteta out. 100%.
Yes, out. Yeah.
Fair play, man. Fair play. Fair play.
Yeah, so there are a couple of guys on the chat as well. So Fala was talking about the depth that we have. Allow us to take off the bit of Gyökeres second. Fala, Frank, always nice. Farouk, always nice to see you on the chat. Now let's go to the next game. This was a game where our bench came to the fore at this athletic club. Our first Champions League game quite early. I don't think we have played a game in Champions League that early before, have we? To the best of my knowledge. So, Rory, our depth in this game, what was the take on Martinelli? At some point Martinelli was struggling in the beginning of the season, and he needed to be saved from himself pretty much by going into the bench, right? And he came on as a sub and scored in this game. So, what do you think of his initial performances, and do you think he's back to his best now? Do you believe he should be a starter or he should be a benchman that comes in?
I think, you know what it is with Martinelli, right? I was one of the few that was defending Martinelli in a way, only because of the way we're just not utilising him right. I see him more as a striker. Like he's never really been a touchline winger, to be honest. Like even in that 22-23 season where he bagged 15 goals, he wasn't just hugging the touchline all the time. You would see him on the right, left, striker. You'd see him everywhere across the front three. And lately, I don't know whether it was because we've taken that left-hand side away, with obviously Granit Xhaka being a huge part of it. But obviously he's not really been the same player since that season where he scored 15 goals and he was our top scorer. Yeah. But I think so far this season, I feel like with the importance of Gyökeres and the fact he draws out defenders at times, that's allowed more freedom to the likes of Martinelli. Not just him, but Bukayo Saka as well.
Yeah.
And I think I've always said as well, like the guy is an impact sub, as well as, Trossard. And it's difficult to pick between both of them because, as I said, both of them are, for me, impact players, and they can produce something different. Like Martinelli has obviously got the pace against tired legs, and then Trossard is a bit more efficient in front of goal. So I think this game was sort of like the turning point for Martinelli, and the goal he scored, the finish wasn't great, but the fact he got into that position in the first place, I mean,
thank God you remember the finish wasn't great.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's been in them positions plenty of times for Arsenal, like against Real Madrid last season, where he's got
PSG as well. So
yeah, like the guy's a deadly finisher, man, and I don't know why he hasn't been played up front more often. Like if Gyökeres was going to if Gyökeres was going to get injured, he would be my go-to up front right now. Yes, ahead of Havertz, most definitely. Even if Havertz does return, we know it's going to be Havertz anyway, or even Marino.
But you know, Arteta will play Merino there.
I mean, if Havertz returns, then obviously it's going to be him. But, you know, I think for me, Martinelli is ahead of, I don't know, is he ahead of Marino right now? I'm not sure. I think Martinelli's more of a striker than Marino is, but then again, Marino is, he's deadly in the box. And I see him more, again, as a bench option, as we saw against Newcastle, innit? Which I know you'll get onto in a minute. But I think Martinelli, right, he just needed a bit of confidence and he needed to be obviously utilised correctly. Like, I think with him, towards the latter stages of last season, he was playing a lot better when he had a striker in Marino, who I would say can trap a ball better than Havertz, can more clinical than Havertz. With 29 up there, like, let's be honest, it was so easy for the opposition to just drop back 10 yards because, again, it's Havertz, so we couldn't really get much joy and barely anything else of our wingers either. So, yeah, I think now with Gyökeres, and I think that's allowed a lot more freedom for the likes of Martinelli, and the goal he scored on Tuesday was absolutely phenomenal. So, yeah, I've always backed Martinelli, and I think the criticism, I'm not saying was...
not warranted.
Yeah, I'm not saying the criticism was unjustified, but I think fans needed to realise that he wasn't necessarily the problem in our attack. He just wasn't, because for me, I see him more as a striker. And, you know, in the last couple of years, he's been obviously utilised as a touchline winger, which isn't his game. So, like, I saw his goal he scored against Brazil in the international break. I think he started as a striker that day.
Yeah, against Japan, he was a striker.
Yeah, so I see him more of a striker, and I think that's where we should be playing him. But obviously in game, like, you can continuously rotate, right wing, left wing, striker, like that. That's fine. But he can't just be hugging the touchline every time. I think Calafiori's a key as well, by the way, because he's the one who can actually produce a little bit of width down his side, whereas Skelly's always in midfield. So, yeah, I think that's probably the solution.
Okay, makes sense. So, Josh, there have been this basically interchange between Martinelli and Trossard, and that has gone on for so many seasons. In your own honest opinion, who should start ahead of who?
I think they should both be bench options, personally. And I think we should have gone and got a left winner in the summer. You know, I feel like, I mean, I do like Martinelli. I think he's a lot, you know, and that's down to, as you know, what Rory said in terms of the way how we've been using him in the recent seasons, you know. And I agree. I think he is a striker. I think when he first burst onto the scene as Arsenal, we played him there against Liverpool in the Carabao Cup, that 5-5 game. He scored a brace. We played him. He played him there against Standard Liège in the Europa League. He scored. I think a brace again. You know, like, if you look at this, I think he scored like 10 goals at playing that striker position. You know, quite clearly that is where we should have been playing him there. And I think Arteta did it at Anfield last season, the 2-2 game.
Yeah, and he scored.
I think the second half, there was a moment when him and Trossard rotated around, and he actually put him in as a. Well, actually, no, you know what? It might be Marino up front. It probably I can't remember now.
No, to Martinelli at some point.
I swear Martinelli, because I remember like that brief moment, and then, you know, he scored in that game as well. Like, this guy for me is a striker, and like, again, I don't mind Trossard, but Trossard is a point now where he's a bench player. You know, he off the bench makes the impact, and both of them have made the impact off the bench. You know, you see them in multiple games this season already. Come off the bench and making a difference, and this is really where we're at. If you're not going to play Martinelli in his striker position, then I'm sorry, but I'll have him off the bench with Trossard, and then you have another left winger there who I still think we should have maybe got in the summer. You know, I think.
Like Rodrigo.
Well, look at Rodrigo's situation right now. Is he been playing at all for Real Madrid? You know, I did the game against Champions League Juventus. He's benched. I think he had like 5 minutes off the bench. You know, this guy's getting no minutes again. Should we have, pushed for sort of that move as much as we, really didn't, to be honest with you. It was all talk in the end, wasn't it? But maybe someone like Semenyo as well. He's doing really well for Bournemouth. There's been quite a bit of talk about Kenan Yildiz as well, who can play anywhere in the attack. I think that could be a good option. But I just think having someone in there, man, like someone fresh in there, because as much as we got Noni Madueke who can play there as well, I still think, I still see him as like, I mean, he should have really been with the money we paid. I get it, it's a lot, but I still saw him as, you talk about a player like Madueke. Okay, you have him as a backup for Saka instead of a starting left winger. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So I feel like, Martinelli and Trossard, I like them both, but they're both bench options, man. Like Trossard's getting on a little bit as well, isn't he? He's like 30 now. And plus, we didn't even extend his contract. We gave him more money. So I think he's going to be moving on eventually.
I think he had just 1 year left.
I think, but he go January may be too soon, but I think in the summer he's gone. He's gone for sure. But I remember when Trossard was scoring goals, against Bayern Munich in the Champions League, against Porto in the Champions League. Trossard was setting up in the big games, and I always rated him for that. Villa at the start of last season when we needed I think he killed the game off, didn't he? Sorry, he got the first goal against Villa.
Yeah, then it was Partey that killed it.
Partey killed off the game, yeah. So I think Trossard's been a phenomenal I think it's been a really good signing, considering that we dodged a bullet with Mikhailo Mudryk that January. But I just think they're both bench options, bro. And I think they proved it obviously against Bilbao when we needed a goal. We weren't playing that great. It seemed like it's going to be an Atlanta game, like that 0-0 again, like we did last season. But they came on and they changed the game.
Awesome. So let's go to the next game, which was Man City. So Bernard, could Saliba have done anything better for that Haaland goal? I know Gabriel was certainly at fault. He was off his line. He went all the way to midfield, and Haaland got the ball, gave it to Reinders, and it's like a one-on-one situation. My own opinion, I thought Saliba should have tackled Reinders before he had passed the ball to Haaland. Do you think he should have done something better, or was that going inevitable?
Okay, so basically, if there was a pause and delete on that day, that was the only moment of the game would have paused and deleted. So the thing is, Gabriel messed up. For very rare. It was very rare for Gabriel to do what he did, how he let Haaland run free. I know Haaland is very fast, but I also know Gabriel is quite fast. But I think we could do very, very little on that day because everything happened so far. I think it was 4 minutes into the game. I think it was quite early in the first half. I've forgotten. But
9 minutes into the game.
Yeah,
it was quite early in the
exactly. 9 minutes into the game. So we hadn't settled. And we're playing very well, actually, knocking the ball around. But just that one moment of error from Gabriel, Haaland is so prolific to lose a chance like that. So it was sad, but I don't think there was anything different that we would have done. We're only hoping that Haaland miscues that ball or plays it over the bar. Then there is no more shot on targets for Man City on that game. But unfortunately, we considered that. There was not much we could have done.
Okay, true. So Rory, what is your take on Pep turning to Sean Dyche that day?
To be honest, right, I was shocked the fact he basically just put 10 men behind the ball, shut up shop, settle with a 1-0. I mean, usually, like if we're talking prime Man City, they would have obviously scored, which they did, to put themselves 1-0 up, and then they would obviously 2, 3, 4. We knew the script back then. But against Arsenal, like they knew. Obviously, when they played us last season, Man City came up the traps early on. They tried to play out from the back, and we punished them on a couple of occasions, actually.
Yeah.
So they basically, almost learnt their lesson by not playing out from the back. They were subbing on defenders, subbed off their blooming striker. And that just, Arteta pretty much had pie in his face at that time because he set up with, against Liverpool, didn't he?
Liverpool, same thing. Yes.
Zubimendi,
Rice and Zubimendi.
yeah, Declan Rice, and I'm sat there like, well, you've done that only for Man City to just sit 10 men behind the ball, taking off their striker when they're 1-0 up, and they could have easily killed off the game. It's mad. And the fact that he changed it up at half time as well, I found hilarious, to be honest with you, because he knew it didn't work. He knew the experiment will not work with Marino in midfield alongside Zubimendi and Declan Rice, because again, you have no creativity. And obviously Madueke went off injured at half time in that game, which again, at the time of watching the game, it was a questionable decision. Like, why would you take Madueke off? But then obviously it made sense because of the injury. So yeah, to be honest with you, I was gutted with the points. I didn't really blame many of the players, if I'm honest with you, because we're really eager to win this game, and I thought we were the better team, deserved something. I think a draw was probably a fair result, but yeah, I was gutted because I felt like I sabotaged that game against, obviously, Man City have actually started the season quite well. But yeah, like that was the opportunity again, especially when you're at home. Like at Anfield, yeah, fair enough. Away from home, this is at home at the Emirates. Like, you don't set up the same way you did against Liverpool and just not play. And despite playing with three older midfielders, you still get hit on transitions. So yeah, so yeah, I mean,
It's very disappointing.
Yeah. Funnily enough, that was actually the only goal we've conceded so far in open play against obviously.
But Rory, are you there? At that point, after the game against Man City, you realize that we were in no position to win the league anymore at that time, right? It was because Liverpool became crap. That was why we had to take our chances. So what we are saying, if Arteta does this kind of a mistake again, maybe in December or in January, we might not be able to have the opportunity to regain lost places when it comes to the table. So I think this season we have the squad, we have the depth, we have the quality. What we do not have is the coach. If if he doesn't overtake, if he doesn't try the whole experiment of trying to bench Gabriel at the beginning of the season, trying to do a lot of thinking that are not necessary. I think we have a long way to achieve this season. But immediately he starts doing those things, we'll just kiss goodbye to the Premier League or the Champions League.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so let's go to the Port Vale game, Josh. So this was the first game where we had wholesale changes to the side. What was your take on the French player that came on? Obviously, it was a game against Port Vale, which we expected to win. But you still need to utilize the players that will go with this. So what was your take on the likes of Ødegaard, Luis Kelly, Ben White, that finally got some valuable minutes, Paris Abalaga in goal as well?
Yeah, listen. With all due respect to Port Vale, I think these are the sort of games where you have to use the squad. I think we've got a very good squad now to even look really good and to go far in the competition. I expect it similar against Brighton. Now, don't get twisted. This is a competition that I want to win. This is a competition that I rate. I do rate the League Cup. I don't rate it as high as the FA Cup, but it's a trophy end of the day, and I want Arsenal to obviously take it seriously, and we don't really do that, do we? We won it twice in history, which ain't enough times, to be honest with you. And I do look at our squad now, and as I said, with the positions that we can play, and the competition that we have to go far in this competition and go all the way, really. But I was really happy. Obviously, Eze got his first goal in this game, and him and Ethan played together, which I really like, to be honest. And I love Ethan, man, and I think this guy needs more minutes. I think this guy needs starts at Arsenal. I really want Arteta to be a bit more bold in that sense and actually give him more opportunity than he's getting, in my opinion, because I still don't think he's getting enough minutes. I think people say it's only Port Vale and all that, but there's only so much he can do. You know, every time Ethan plays, he turns up. You know, he makes an impact. You know, he's a phenomenal he's a phenomenal player, mate. At the end of the day, but yeah, it's one of those games. Like I thought at times, Port Vale, you know, they made it frustrating for us. You know, it wasn't really a walk. Like it was dominant, and we got the 2-0 win, and very happy clean sheet. Kepa didn't have a lot to do, but you know, people would expect 5-6-0, but it wasn't that type of game, was it? You know, it was one of those nights, really rainy night in obviously Stoke. You know, a League One opposition as well. So they gave us. It's very similar to when we played Bolton and Preston last year. You know, we only won those games 3-0, didn't we? So it's a typical Carabao Cup match, really. I thought Norgard did his thing when he came on, and I think it was good minutes for him. As I said, Kepa didn't have a lot to do, so he'd be happy with the clean sheet. Diamond obviously came on. Again, I would have actually started. I would have started him. I would have started him for.
I was surprised to see both Martinelli and Saka start that game. Actually,
yeah, he plays Saka, but I think looking back on it, he plays Saka because he came back from injury, didn't he? And he wanted. He wanted him to get back the fitness back in him, and then we played Newcastle after this, didn't we? So I think we were ready for the Newcastle game. So I got that to a point, but I think Saka went down in the game against Port Vale. I think it was like,
he had a terrible time.
I was like, nah, Arteta, take him off now, mate. Take him off now. Yeah, and to be fair, I think he did, and then he brought on Dalman, to be fair. But I would have started Dalman from the start. And for the Brighton game, I'll pay Max Dalman. I really would. I'll start him. But yeah, it was a typical cup match, man. I want us to take this cup seriously. I want us to go all the way. You know, because the finals in February, I'm pretty sure. You know, you win this final in February, what do you think it's going to do for the momentum with the team when they've actually won together?
To boost their confidence.
Exactly. We're going to push on for the rest of the season. Hopefully, we'll be in a title race, and hopefully, we'll be in the Champions League still, and we can go and push on.
Awesome. So, Rory, let's talk Newcastle. This was a ground that we've had such a terrible time. Last season, they defeated us 3 times, twice in the Carabao Cup, and of course, that Alexander Isak header that resigned us to defeat. So, coming into this ground and winning this game, what was your take on it? Because I want you to first of all dwell on that pathetic VAR decision where the Pope tackled Gyökeres, but the ref said that he touched the ball first. What the hell was that?
Oh, bro, I tell you what, I've had multiple arguments on group chats about that penalty decision, and I still stand by, like, that was a clear penalty because, yes, Pope touches the ball, but at the end of the day, right, he's still got Gyökeres with his knee. Like, it's that simple. I mean, I think, I'm trying to think now, like, didn't we have another blooming handball incident in the second half? I think that was also a handball. So you could argue we should have had 2 penalty decisions in that game. Obviously, Newcastle fans were crying about the Gabriel handball, which again, like, deflected off his body first before it hit his hand. Sorry. So yeah, like, that's not a penalty by the rules. But the Gyökeres one, like, we've seen that given every day of the week. It's not human error because the referee took like a couple of seconds before eventually giving the penalty. But the thing that wound me up that day, what I can remember anyway, was it was a drop ball to Newcastle. Like, the play should just restart with Arsenal because Saka had the ball and he tried to play on, but the referee blew so he can give the penalty. Like, it doesn't make any sense why.
Yeah. And that thing kind of pissed me off because if you want to give the penalty, right, we had the opportunity to actually still score because we are progressing that attack.
So, Saka, I think, would have scored, but the thing is, there were no complaints regarding the penalty from Newcastle players, etc. I don't even know why it went to VAR in the first place. We've seen these scenarios plenty of times. Like last season, when Saliba gave that penalty away, I mean, he won the ball first before he eventually clashed heads. And that's what it was, a clash of heads. But they still gave the penalty. I remember when we played Brighton again, not last season, but the season before, and we beat them 3-0.
Yeah, João Pedro, I remember.
Yeah, but the season before, we won a penalty that time where Lamptey won the ball, but he clattered Jesus, and they still gave a penalty. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, and even the previous week, Brandon Buemo had a one-on-one situation
exactly.
with Sanchez. Sanchez got the ball, but she tackled Buemo and got a red card.
Exactly.
So the whole thing was just pathetic, man.
Yeah, there's this narrative going around that, Pope won the ball. He never won the ball. He touched the ball. Just because you touch the ball, it don't mean that you've won it, because at the same time, he has prevented Gyökeres from getting to the ball. And the only reason he didn't was because...
He found him.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I'm saying. I mean, the referees in this country, we know how poor they are. Like, if that wasn't given and we didn't win the game, we ended up drawing, we ended up losing whatever, I wouldn't have made that as an excuse. But because we won the game, I made that as a talking point, because, like, I know rival fans are just going to rage bait and say, well, it's not a penalty because he won the ball. Like, is that the only argument you've got? He won the ball. He touched the ball was your only argument when he took out Gyökeres. The only reason why he touched the ball was because Gyökeres flicked it up to, take it round him. So I think he was hard done by, if I'm being honest. But in terms of the game itself, like, that was, for me, at the time, our best performance of the season. I thought we actually thoroughly deserved to win that game. I remember in the opening 30 minutes, we played the best football we've played all season, to be honest with you. In fact, in the last 8 months, that's the best I've seen us play, to be honest, in 30 minutes. Then obviously Newcastle scored after the run of play, and I'm like, here we go. Newcastle, before the game, ended up conceding, I think it was like 2 goals, something like that. So they conceded the least goals out of anyone in the league before that game. So I didn't fancy Arsenal, especially when we were 1-0 down at the break. I didn't fancy Arsenal to turn that game around, to be honest. And then he brought on Marino, took off Saka, and I think he brought on Martinelli, brought on Ødegaard. Like, I couldn't understand the changes. I don't even know who came off, to be honest. I think it may have been Calafiori. I'm not too sure. But Marino came on, and again, like, I think I mentioned it earlier, that Marino's more of an impact sub than he is a starter, because, again, you can just throw him on for situations like that. I mean, I'd describe him as another Fellaini, pretty much. With no afro in it, but you get just someone who can throw on, and that header was sensational. And then, of course, we scored from the corner as well. I mean, if I knew Ødegaard was taking the corner, I would have just switched off the TV, because if you've watched Ødegaard's corners, they've been really poor, but it all happened so quickly, so I didn't even realise Ødegaard was taking a corner. And then obviously Gabriel scored. And I think I mentioned it in my video earlier today, that Gabriel will, if he does make a rare mistake, right, which he was very poor on that goal, he'll always redeem himself with either a goal or just a vital block. And that's the mentality about him. And that's why he
doesn't sulk. I love that about him.
Oh, he's excellent. He's, as I said, one of Arteta's, if not Arteta's best signing since he's been here, for 30 million as well. And then obviously, to be fair, with the long throw-ins at the end with Newcastle, that really did freak me out a little bit, but we got over the line, and I thought, as I said, we played really well in that game, actually. It was frustration at times. I didn't think we were going to get back into it, but again, like, that's how you do win titles. And that was the game where I sat there and thought, this could be a turning point in our season. That could encourage more mentality in this team to get over the line in games like this, where perhaps it's not going your way with slight injustice here and there. That was the game where I thought, we can actually get over the line in certain games which don't actually go our way. So, yeah, really enjoyed it, to be honest. And the way we won it, brilliant as well. Set pieces again. So,
so Josh, let's talk Olympiacos. After the long wait for Ødegaard to get to full fitness, he comes and just puts up this beast of a performance against them before going injured again. Did that bring good memories of the Ødegaard that we've known before?
Definitely. I was really impressed with how he played. To be fair, obviously now he's injured again, and it's such a shame because I think he had the game against Newcastle off the bench. Was he off the bench?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was off the
Yeah,
bench.
yeah, he came off the bench against Newcastle, then started this one, then got
And he
injured.
had a good run of games as well. Leading up to his injury, which and even on the West Ham game, he started off really well, and then he got injured in it, didn't he? Which is
Yeah.
such a shame because like we saw. I don't know, it's only been a couple of games, but I saw a completely new, different, confident, just full of freedom, like the old Odegaards that we've been
Yeah,
missing
it was
really.
awesome actually. It was
I thought he
awesome.
was absolutely superb, and yeah, it was a good result against Olympiacos. A clean sheet in the Champions League, and 3 points in the league phase, and I think at times they gave us a frustrating game though, man. I think they gave us a good game, to be fair to
Mhm.
Olympiacos.
Yeah.
I think they had a few half chances from that.
Podence. I remember that lovely
Then they
save
hit the
that Ryan
bar as
made from
well.
Daniel
I
Podence.
swear they hit the bar.
Yes, yeah, they hit the
Yeah,
one.
so
Yeah.
they
El Kabi.
El Kabi, that's it. So they had a few half chances here and there, but um, we killed the game off in the end, didn't we? I think that was a big thing because I think we got the early goal from Martinelli, wasn't it? Early on.
Yes,
And
in the first
then
half.
first half, and then it was a long sort of wait for that second goal. And we was always getting a bit nervous towards the end. We was looking at 10 minutes to go. We was thinking, oh, hold on a minute, we need a second goal. And in the end, we did, and we killed it off. And these types of games at the Emirates, and I'm sure we'll talk about it when we play when the amazing Atleti result. But in the Champions
Mhm.
League at the Emirates, it is a fortress. Not many teams. I mean, the only team to beat us at the Emirates is PSG in the Champions League, and that was like 1-0
Yeah.
in the semi-final. So for the 3 seasons that we've been in the Champions League, only PSG. And if we're being real with it, that half an hour killed us anyway. Like if we went the game and we actually was a bit more braver, it could have been different. So
True.
I think the Emirates is a fortress in the Champions League, no matter what team comes to the Emirates, man.
Yeah,
You
and
can win
I
anywhere.
read a stat somewhere that in the group phase of the Champions League at the Emirates, we have played 9 games there and we have not conceded and we have won all.
In the league phase, yeah. Mm.
Yes.
And
So
even the knockout games, I think the Bayern game was a 2-2, wasn't it? And
yeah,
the
2-2, yes.
Porto game was the penalties.
Yes, yes.
And then obviously we
The-
battered up Madrid, 3-0.
and
And
PSV was a draw as well.
PSG was 2-2, but that was dead, wasn't it? It was
Yeah, of
7
course,
up,
we are,
7 up.
yeah, we are
And we
destroyed
had
them in the
man
earlier
like
game.
Tierney, bro. We had Tierney left wing, Sterling, and was it Marino up top as a front
Yeah,
three?
Trent is exile, man. Even Zinchenko
Yeah.
played midfield that day. Okay, now let's talk West Ham. So, Rory, this was the game where they had a new coach. I was actually hoping, okay, before Espirito Santo came to West Ham, this was a fixture that I was looking forward to playing against Graham Potter. But unfortunately, he got the sack. And when the game came on, Arteta did something different. He benched Mendy and played Ødegaard and Eze with Rice
Yeah.
behind them. Do you think that's going to be our footballer for teams with low blocks?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I remember seeing the lineup and I was shocked at first because I never thought Arteta had it in him, but I was really happy with it at the time. Ødegaard in the 8, Rice in the 6, and Eze in the 10. I was really pumped up for this game. Not because it's West Ham, but
The prospect of watching them, right? Just cook.
yeah, before the game, right, I was a bit nervous. Like before the lineup got released initially, I was nervous because West Ham, not the fact they've just beaten Arsenal over the last 2 years at our ground, but so far they've like obviously they've changed manager, and that was, I believe, his second game, and they drew their first game, I believe,
Yeah,
away at
against
Everton.
Everton.
Yeah, so they showed like positive signs here and there. But when the lineup got released, I was confident that we were going to win the game, and I thought it was a solid performance. It was frustrating again at times in the opening 30 minutes, but when we got that first goal, I thought it was dominant throughout. I think this was the game where I think fans started to get a little bit apprehensive on Gyökeres because you know, he didn't score in this game, and these are the sort of games that we did bring him in for, to obviously not just to score against the meaty opponents, but to obviously stat padding them quite a bit.
True.
But he didn't, and he didn't really have the best game. Again, didn't really create many chances for him, but we won the game 2-0. And as long as the team are winning, then like it doesn't really matter. Like obviously Saka took the penalty over him, and I was seeing meltdowns over it, and I'm like, well, who cares? Like Saka is the penalty taker at the end of the day, and he was on 99 goal contributions, I believe. So he has the right to take that penalty, and you know, who cares? Like the same people that were bashing Gyökeres for taking the penalty over Max Dalman against Leeds, and I was like, yo, like who cares, innit? Because what happens if Gyökeres misses that penalty? Then, you know, his confidence is down the drain. It's the same with what if Dalman missed the penalty against Leeds? Then he would have been the youngest ever player to miss a penalty at that age. So,
yeah,
for me, like I don't really care who takes the penalties as long as you're putting them away every week. Obviously, you are going to miss penalties, but you know, if you are putting them away, then I don't care who takes the penalties. Like, if we are going to be in a penalty shootouts, it's not like Gyökeres won't take one. Of course he will. He's a striker. So for me, I don't really pay attention to who takes the penalties. Right, at the end of the day, if you're the penalty taker, just bury it. Whoever you are, like I don't care if your name's Gabriel, Magalhaes, Saliba, Timber, Trossard. Like, don't care. Just bury your penalty so he can win the game, for God's sake, and get out of there with 3 points. No need to spend like 10 minutes trying to figure out who's taking a penalty, because it's, again, as I said, it's a waste of time. And obviously that buried the game. And I believe, did West Ham have a single shot on target? I don't think they did.
I don't think they did. They didn't have actually.
Yeah, so clean sheet, and yeah, couldn't really complain. Although I would have liked us to score more goals, especially against that West Ham team, which is arguably the worst West Ham team.
Yeah, they're actually losing to Leeds United right now.
Yeah, they're losing 2-0 at the moment to Leeds, so it's only getting worse for them at this moment in time. So yeah, and obviously Declan Rice scoring against his former club as well, with all of the stick that West Ham fans have given him. Like, I was glad he didn't celebrate, to be honest with you, because
I actually wanted him to celebrate.
Yeah, like, well, I don't even know why West Ham fans are giving him all this stick. Yes, he moved to another London club, whatever, but at the end of the day, like,
but they made good money. He made £105 million. Come on, what else do you need, man? It's just crazy.
Yeah, like it's their fault for basically declining after that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not our problem. Replace him first.
Yeah,
I agree. Replace him.
I agree.
So
it kind of reminds me when Tottenham sold Gareth Bale and never really replaced him, and they kept on struggling and stuff. But just what it is, man.
It's like again Spurs, that they've not replaced Harry Kane. They've not replaced Son either. Mm-hmm. So they have a tendency of not replacing their best players, in it. So and now they're facing the consequences because they don't have no game changers in their team. But
even because Son Living was quite interesting, but the Xavi Simons they bought was not up to scratch. So Josh, let's talk Fulham. This was a very nervy game. You know, and I think one thing about this season that I really love is the fact that those bogey teams that have been stressful to us have been getting victories against them. Newcastle was one, West Ham was one, and this Fulham was also a serious one, because you remember last season we had a draw, but the season before that
we lost
at Craven Cottage, you know, and it played a role in us not winning the title. What was your take on the performance on that night?
Yeah, as you rightly said there, is a side that, you know, we struggled to beat in the recent years. Always a side that I kind of a bit wary against. You know, they always give us a good game, to be fair to Fulham. And it was one of those games, wasn't it? Once again, it was cagey at Craven Cottage. It wasn't the greatest performance, but we stepped up with the goal and we grinded out the win. And somehow in the end we kept a clean sheet as well. I think it was the only real threat I saw from Fulham was, I think, Wilson. who had about 3-4 half chances. But apart from that, really, the defense stepped up, man, big time. And what I mean, Trossard again scoring. Was it from a set piece again, weren't it? I think this one.
Yeah,
Funny that one.
Well.
Nice, yeah, set piece. But we take it all day long, man, because you're exactly right. This is a game last year where we dropped points. To be fair, we dropped a lot of points last year. We got 14 draws last year, wasn't it? In the Premier League.
True.
And these are the results where you can't be. Where we look back on even that season when we were in a title race with City.
We lost to both West Ham
and Fulham as well. Yeah, we look back on it and was like, I think it was at that December period. November.
December, before we went to Dubai.
Yeah,
we got to the New Year and then we lost to Aston Villa.
Yeah, exactly. So these are the games that you look back on and you like, we shouldn't be dropping points, or we shouldn't be losing these types of games. And I thought as much as it weren't pretty at times, it's a 1-0 to Arsenal, and we were known under George Graham 1-0 to Arsenal, but we won out of it. We won trophies out of it, and we won titles out of it, and we even won a European trophy out of it. So at the end of the day, I don't care if we play like this, and we get set pieces every single game, right? If we win the Premier League out of it, we're not going to care. The only people who are going to cry is all the rival fans, but as Arsenal fans,
straight up. And one thing that pisses me off was that when Mourinho won the Premier League with just 15 goals conceded, I don't think he had this much backlash. And I think his team was even a whole lot worse than defensively.
Exactly, man. It's
I mean, about the set pieces as well. Like, honestly, with Gabriel in there and arguably one of the best crossers in football right now in Declan Rice, I mean, the whippage he has is just the best I've seen, basically.
It's crazy, man. Like Trent.
Crazy. Basically, with the way we are scoring set pieces and the fact we've got Gabriel in the box, you can't expect us not to score from set pieces. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the same time, right, it's not really our problem, is it? Like, we're just out here scoring set pieces, whereas you man can't defend them. So either get your head to the ball and clear it away, or just hire new set piece coaches, innit? But it's almost like a bloke with a broken bike, and he's there mocking a Ferrari with no bloody petrol. Deal with your own problem. Don't be start mocking that Ferrari with no petrol when you're there with a broken bicycle. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just mad.
Yeah, it's really mad, man. Now let's go to the final game. Bernard, are you still with us? Okay.
Yes,
so
Josh,
okay, you're here. Great. 12 games played, 3 goals conceded. We'll talk about the attack much later, but at the time of this podcast that we are having this evening, we have played 12 games and conceded just 3 goals. What is your take on another brilliant defensive performance against Atletico? I will allow Josh and Rory to talk about the attacking part of the game, but I want you to talk about the defense.
So for the defense, I think we are becoming more compact. I don't know if you remember previous seasons before last season where we had Ben White running down the right flank, going up and coming down, giving us the old Cafu vibe and all. But I think with Timber, we are more conservative. Yes, he has his moments 1 or 2 times up front, but he's more defensive minded. And against Atletico, surprisingly, I don't know if it was the competition of places that caused it. Martin Kelly rose up to the occasion and did fantastic. Although, at the earliest part of the game, the first half, he had his blips that almost costed us. But I think he grew into the game. Keep talking about.
Okay, I think we're still struggling with him and his network.
Can you hear me?
Okay, Rory, so let's talk the attack. I know I've spoken about Martinelli's goal. What is your take on Gyökeres? Were you as relieved as I was when he scored those 2 goals? Because the pressure on him was enormous.
Yeah, I'm so pleased that he got both goals, right? And look, I know they weren't the cleanest of finishes, but at the end of the day, right, just put the ball in the back of the net is all I ask for. I mean, the first goal, it comes off his shin, but again, striker's anticipation. The second one is the same thing, basically, but he scored with his crotch. So, listen, he's got that much confidence. He's scoring, with various body parts. And, it's madness, really. I think his overall performance was excellent all night, to be honest with you. Got both of their centre-backs booked. His hold-up play was immense.
It was so good.
Yeah, as he's been doing pretty much all season, he freed up both wingers. Like he did for, I think it was the second... No, yeah, it was the second goal. It was the Martinelli one.
Yeah.
Where he just drawn like 4 defenders out of the game and then just left Martinelli completely open, which was obviously a brilliant finish. For me, I think having an actual focal point up front in Gyökeres, as I said earlier, helps so much because at the end of the day, right, Havertz isn't a focal point because
he drops too deep.
Yeah, he drops too deep. You see him on the right all the time. On the left, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And then we have no striker. Right? How many times has that ball from Declan Rice, how many times has that been whipped in and Gabriel has a flick on, or we get down the left-hand side with Martinelli, Lewis Skelly, whoever. No fucker there is there to fucking put the ball in the back of the
net. Yeah, because if you remember the goal against Nottingham Forest, it was Kai Havertz. When Calafiori played the ball to Eze and Eze whipped the ball into the box. I'm not sure Kai would have been there to slide that ball in what Gyökeres did. So having that focal point is really, really important.
Yeah, and I think with that set piece, who knows, if Gyökeres wasn't there, I don't think we may have scored because again, we wouldn't have had a striker in that position. But in terms of the rest of the players, I don't think anyone performed necessarily badly Tuesday. I think it was an outstanding performance considering it was the Haram derby and it was a boring game. I thought the first half was actually an enjoyable first half. It was end to end at times. The only chance Atletico Madrid really had was when Raya was fucking about. Yeah.
That overconfident that he does sometimes.
But then again, he's bored, isn't it? So he has barely anything to do.
And it reminds me of what happened against Real Madrid last season. So the same kind of scenario. I think a lot of blood just goes to his head sometimes. I don't know that it really bored him or he just wants to get involved. But that was just something that he didn't need to do at that point because it would have cost us heavily. It was 0-0 at that point too.
Yeah, and then obviously Alvarez hit the bar, but
yeah.
Again, apart from that, Atletico didn't cause us much threat. And Simeone, honestly, I feel bad for the poor guy, because the guy's just been the guy's been clapped by both Arteta and Jova in the same game. We scored 2 goals from open play and 2 goals from set pieces.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and the fact we scored 2 goals from open play and then another 2 from set pieces. Keep doing it every single week if it's going to rattle these rival fans. At the end of the day, if we need something to actually, unlock these low blocks, just whip in a set piece and we may score, as long as Gabriel's on the pitch, innit? But again, we've proved lately that, well, not lately, but we proved last season in a couple of games where we can actually still score from set pieces, even without Gabriel. But again, he is important.
Yeah, when he got injured.
Yeah, he was injured.
Yeah, but I think his presence really plays a big role as well in that box.
Yeah, and then obviously the back four was just outstanding. I thought Lewis Skelly was arguably one of the best players on the pitch, to be honest with you. I thought he was excellent. These last 2 Champions League games have been nothing short of excellence from Lewis Skelly. He's reminded a lot of the fan base and a lot of, rival fans as well who have been cussing Lewis Skelly after his performance for England the other night against Latvia.
Latvia.
Yeah. he's reminded pretty much everyone that he's still here, and I would still play him in midfield, by the way. But it won't surprise me at the weekend if we do see a Saliba Calafiori partnership if Gabriel isn't fit, and then Skelly at left back. That's something that we could do. But yeah, I thought he was excellent. Subamendi and Declan Rice. I thought Rice was actually really poor in that first half, and then second half, he must have tuned into Josh's watch along because I was, I was saying, yo, this guy's got to step it up, But he bagged 2 assists that night, so that was good to see. Obviously, Subamendi I've already mentioned. Eze obviously needs a little bit of time to adapt with the Champions League, first time he's ever played in it, and he needs to get used to the fact he's not going to be like the main man here at Arsenal like he was at Crystal Palace. So that's something that he needs to get used to. Saka was probably one of our best players in the first half.
Yeah, so it is no longer a big fish in a small pond.
Yeah, and then Martinelli. I don't know. Was he man of the match Tuesday?
Man of the match was Gyökeres. I think they gave.
Yeah, it was Gyökeres, but I'm considering whether I should have given Martinelli my man of the match. To be honest with you.
Yeah, he did very well.
Yeah, because he was immense. I mean, but the back four. Yeah, the back four is obviously the talking point. Like, as long as we keep that defense fit, like, we will go places this season. Like, Timber, I mean, copy and paste of whatever I've said a year ago. I say it every single flipping week. And I've had multiple arguments about, is Timber the best right back in the world? Not the world, but in the Premier League, right? I've had people telling me that Munoz, Reece James, etc. are better. And I'm like, just watch Timber play football and you'll understand where I'm coming from. Because these managers speculated at this point.
His control is amazing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, a different level. So Josh, regarding Calafiori and Lewis Kelly, what's your thought on that dynamic?
I think Calafiori's played very, very well this season as a left back, but I still think he's a centre back. He plays so well there for Italy. You see him a lot more how good he is. He's more defensive attributes. I don't think we see that enough at Arsenal when he's at left back. I know it's the system that Arteta plays and how he utilizes his left backs is, inverted and always wants them, in the midfield. So you're not going to see him defensively enough. But I feel like as a centre back, you see how good he is actually as a defender as well. He's very, very strong, very physical as a centre back, and the way how he play, I think he has the ability to even do the thing going forward as well. Like we know he loves to get forward, create chances, and I think he's actually good going forward, man. Him as a centre back, he can do that as well. I think so. It'd be very interesting to see. Like obviously Gabriel's out. Very doubtful for the game against Palace. So maybe he'll go Mosquera, which I don't mind. But I would love to see them both, Lewis Skelly on the left back, and Calafiori as a centre back. I don't think Arteta is going to do it. I think he's going to Mosquera. But with Lewis Skelly as well, I thought he was absolutely exceptional against Atleti. That second goal was wow. Him in the midfield, man. And it just begs the question, really. I know he's always inverting in there, but is that a possibility one day, as the season goes on to, because that is what his position was when he came through the academy. He was a midfielder, Lewis Skelly. So, that could be an area that we could look at in the future, really. But I don't mind both of them, really. Like, I think both could definitely step up. And this is what I love about these types of games, because the Champions League, it's Atletico, and Calafiori's played every single game, in a Premier League season, week in, week out. And I feel for Lewis Skelly in that sense, because Lewis Skelly had a superb end of last season, but quite clearly Arteta favours Calafiori. But it's good that for this big game, Lewis Skelly, you're in. And we know, and I said it before the game, Lewis Skelly proved that he could step up in these big games in Champions League. You think about last year in the Champions League, the Real Madrid games. He proved in the big games that he can step up, and he certainly did once again against Atleti. And just overall on the result, it's a big statement, man. And we spoke about the record at the Emirates anyway, but we can take anyone on at the Emirates. I'm excited for Bayern Munich. I'm excited because
Sure.
I think we can do them at the Emirates. Now, it's not even delusion like it was a few years ago, you know, when we had the whole pray for Bayern and all that stuff a few years ago. You know, as much as Bayern are a good team and they're playing, I think they're unbeaten this season and they've got some brilliant players. I think on our day,
Yeah.
we could take anyone on at the Emirates, you know. So I'm coming into these games feeling more confident, you know, seeing how we're performing in these. I mean, you look at Real Madrid last year, the 3-0, and then now you look at Atleti, and I'm a massive fan of Diego Simeone. I think he's, he's one of my favorite managers, but credit to our manager, Arteta. And I don't even rate Arteta, you know, I think Arteta's got to win trophies for Arsenal, simple as that. If he can't, he's got to go. But Arteta schooled him, if we're being real with it. Outclassed him, out-tacticked him. You know, Simeone shot himself in the foot. I think he took off Koke when it was still 0-0 or we went a goal up. And then he's a captain for them, and he was, I think as soon as he took him off, he made 3 subs. I think when he conceded, he sort of shot himself in the foot a little bit. But Arteta outclassed him, man, out-tacticked him, and credit to Arteta because these are the big performances that you need to prove your worth as a manager. And it was a big test up against Simeone, man, because we know how he plays.
Yeah.
You know, and
I agree.
to do him by 4 goals is massive statement, man. But one thing I'll quickly say is we need to sign Julian Alvarez, bro. I'm sorry, man. That guy, he deserves Arsenal. Yeah, that guy deserves Arsenal. Yeah, he deserves Atleti. You know, he's done his thing, but come to the Arsenal. Imagine go 4-4-2 with Alvarez and Gyökeres, man. That'd be mad.
Where would he play?
He probably play in like attacking midfield. So there are a couple of comments on the chat I'd like us to just dwell on before we call it a day. So we have Vidor from India. Thanks for being around here, Vidor. So he said that he's excited to have Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz back. So the first question I want to ask you guys, I think I'll start with you, Rory. Should we sell Gabriel Jesus when he comes back to full fitness in January? Or should we keep him and allow him play till May and make a decision by that time?
This may sound controversial, but I would rather keep Gabriel Jesus than Kai Havertz, to be honest with you. I think Gabriel Jesus has a lot more to offer than a Kai Havertz, for instance. Yes, Kai Havertz has got, you know, these physical attributes and he's 6'5" and he can be a decent, you know, squad option, right, to say the least. He can come off the bench if we need a goal. But Gabriel Jesus, I just think he offers something a lot different, you know, especially on that left-hand side where that has been a problem pretty much for the last 2 seasons. I think he can do a fine job out on that left-hand side. Yes, it will take him a while to, you know, get back into the swing of things. It's good to see him back on grass and kicking the football because, again, like, he can be very useful. It's just, obviously, we can't rely on him to be that starting left winger for me because, as I said, he's just come back from injury. And I think with the way the squad is looking at the moment and our squad depth and the attacking options we currently have, I think Gabriel Jesus can actually feed himself some time and actually get himself back into the swing of things. Whereas if this was last season and he was coming back, then due to the lack of attacking options, then he would have had no choice but to play. And obviously, back when he had that knee injury, we pretty much threw him straight back into the deep end, pretty much, when we could have just gone Trossard for the remainder of the season. But we went Gabriel Jesus, and his knee was fucked from then on, pretty much. And he's ended up having like 4 surgeries to his knee, which is a shame, because obviously before his ACL injury, he was starting to get back onto the score sheet. He was playing well. Bagged a hat-trick against Palace, bagged against, I think it was Brentford, and I think, Crystal Palace again.
Crystal Palace, he scored 5 goals in 2 games against Crystal Palace.
Yeah, so I prefer Gabriel Jesus. I don't know about you lads, but I just prefer him over Kai Havertz. I think he's much more mobile, and he has a lot more to offer than a Kai Havertz, for instance. I think he's done way more for Arsenal, Gabriel Jesus, than Havertz has done. So...
All right. Okay, so we just have Josh. Let's have your parting comments on this before you go.
Yeah. Do you know what it is? Like, Jesus, for me, I did rate him as well. It's just a bit. It's just the injuries which let this guy down, man. I think he had that big one in the World Cup, didn't he? You know, we saw how good he was when he first burst onto the scene. A really exciting player. You know, very technical. Can play on the win as well, can't he? I think he played there a few times when he actually came back. You know, that second season when he was in the title race. I think it was Man City. Was it 0-0 game, or was it the Tottenham game, the 2-2? He moved out to the win on a few occasions. Like, you know, I did like Jesus a lot, but the big thing for me is the injuries. At the end of the day, you know, unfortunately, it's getting time and time again. And again, last season he had that good spell against Crystal Palace, wasn't it? When Selhurst Park, he scored twice. Oh, no, sorry, he scored a hat trick in the cup game against Palace, and we was like, yeah, you know, he's getting consistent again. You know, he's getting back to his best, and then an injury happened, and that's the big concern with Jesus. So you got a big sort of decision to make. With Jesus is the fact that, and I actually agree with Rory. I rate him over Kai Havertz. I really do, personally. You know, like Havertz for me, I don't think it's kind of Arsenal. He's had a few good moments here and there, but never agreed with the signing. And I think if an opportunity came in the summer, he's got to go. Which is why, you know, keeping Jesus wouldn't. But, you know, again, like, it's that decision because it's the injuries, man. You know, do we have to get to a point where we have to cut ties with both of them at the end of the day, and then look at elsewhere for some more attackers? But yeah, just quickly on that, I hope he comes back and, you know, he starts getting consistent minutes and he doesn't get injured again. But I still think it's a big risk, man. But I've got to bounce anyway.
Well, we're actually done. So thank you so much, Josh. Thanks, Rory. This was so amazing to have you guys on the channel.
Yeah.
And of course,
I really enjoyed it. Despite obviously, you know, Kai Havertz, I'm seeing in the comments. Just quickly, I don't dislike Kai Havertz as a footballer, but I just think last season that was the turning point for me. That's when I think it may have been Man United, where he missed like a boatload of opportunities. That's when I just decided to cut losses with Kai Havertz. And the fact the guy is the most... Isn't he the highest paid? Yeah, he's still the highest paid player. Saka hasn't signed his contract. So, yeah, like, considering the guy is on the highest wages, the fact we needed a striker, he has pretty much cost us. Well, last season he cost us, as far as I'm concerned, with misses against Man United.
Yeah.
He missed chances. Yeah, and to be honest, Marino's a better striker than Havertz. So that's also to that. But again, I do see where people rate Kai Havertz because of his first season and the fact he's had a better time at Arsenal apparently than
Chelsea.
He won the Champions League at Chelsea, scored the winner. At Arsenal, he's got us knocked out of 2 competitions. He missed a chance against Newcastle as well in the Carabao Cup.
Yeah.
So for that, I won't respect him. If you're getting my club knocked out of cup competitions, there's no way I'm respecting him. And yeah, obviously that's just me. And I think there are players I rate in this team over Kai Havertz. It's just like you look at that 11, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many players are better than Havertz?
Pretty much
less money as well.
Yeah.
There are so many players you would prefer
over
Havertz. You got Saka, you got Raya, Saliba, Gabriel. Like, run through the whole starting 11 if you have to.
True.
How many of them do you rate over Havertz? And let me know whether the money is justified. But
yeah.
I'll leave it to them.
Thank you so much, Rory. Thanks, Josh. And of course, for all the people that are on the chat as well, don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll see you guys in the next stream. Till then, come on, you Gunners.
Come on, the Gunners.